Hey, welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Sagittarius. Know that roles can be reversed because energy is fluid, so you may have to flip it, switch it, twist it. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Always take what you need, leave the rest. Okay? If you're new to the channel, also know that anything of any relevance to this channel you can find in the description box. My website link, social media links, Patreon link, other YouTube channel links, everything's in that description box, along with the giveaway of the day. Every day that I do a video, I offer a giveaway, and you will always know what that is. Even if you miss it in the video, usually I'll mention what it is. Like today, if you want to win a free psychic reading, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word healing in your comment bar. I was going to say feeling. Feeling or healing is going to be today. Usually it's healer, master healer. Well, today I'm called to feeling. And maybe that has something to do within your reading, Sagittarius. Now, know also if you wind up landing on this video and you're not a Sagittarius and you resonate with it, well, guess what? The message is most likely for you as well. Okay. Now, I always look at the spiritual meaning first. The spiritual energy is really what's determining what's happening within your situation, Sagittarius. A lot of times we could see a person really might care about you, but then won't act like it, or they'll there'll be karmic tests and karmic lessons, or it could be a karmic contract, anything that is a karmic theme. And then karmic theme might talk about your person's behaviorisms and how they tend to sabotage themselves. Or it may talk about how you sabotage yourself in your relationship or whatever you're trying to manifest. That is why we look at the spiritual energy first. We see whether you're in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature within your situation, within the experience. And if you're not, then we look at the habits and the behaviorisms that are blocking you from obtaining what you're trying to create or manifest. Oh. Okay. I'm going to take them just because. Okay, we're just going to take those. Look a little sloppy, but nevertheless, that might be the energy. Maybe you're dealing with very sloppy energy. So omniscience talks about a soulmate, twin flame, possibly just a soul relationship. And light, it again talks about in the beginning of this relationship, things were good. But now as you are in the relationship for a few years, some of you for a lot longer than a few years, it's been too many times that you've had to forgive is what I'm feeling. And it's like, and you're worried about your future. That happens a lot of times when we grow out of a connection. So I feel like Sagittarius at one time, like I said, it was young love. And what you wanted at that time was to have a family and to, kind of be a housewife and do family oriented things. But you married a person that didn't really want those things. They might have acted like they wanted those things, but it was a soul connection. But it was more of a karmic connection because there's been so much that you've had to like really forgive. And at this point, I feel like you don't trust your person anymore. I want to look and see. Actually, let's look and see what the wounds are, how you're feeling. Let's look at how you're feeling, and let's look at how your person is feeling within the connection. Angry, ruled by your emotions, lashing out at others, heal your pain inside you. And that's what I felt. I felt like, again, that over time, when we have to keep forgiving, and the person that we're with really doesn't know what they keep doing, or it's just their nature to act a certain way, and they are not in alignment with what we want, then what happens is we feel like we have to either mother or parent that person that we're with instead of being able to enjoy ourselves. And mainly, it's not even because your person's doing anything anymore, it's because of everything that they did in the past. And that's the thing, when you don't heal anger because someone does something, you need to be able to communicate and get to the root of the issue. And then there needs to be changed behavior in order for you to really heal your anger. And what I see here is that, like, you've always forgiven, but there's never really been that changed behavior. And now you're like trying to control the situation, but you've got to a point where you're like, I don't even feel like I'm controlling. I feel like I'm angry all the time. And you are, because this person isn't showing up. Defensive, and then they get defensive. And then also, I feel like when they question you, you're defensive. When other people question you on why you're with this person, you are defensive. So you're not just angry because you're tolerating a lot less than you deserve. You're angry because you have to be defensive towards everyone because you know what everyone thinks, because your person never really hid their behavior. And like I said, now you're in a place of wanting to, like, wanting a good future. I mean, diplomacy talks all about like having a fruitful and comfortable future. But how, if you're not in a stable connection now, how will you have a stable and comfortable future? You won't. And so I feel like a lot of people are asking you this question, like, do you want this? And you're defensive. And I feel like you're angry because you really shouldn't, you shouldn't have to be. So this is like when we're holding a vibrational dissonance inside of us, when we want something, but our heart and our mind and our soul knows that it's not good for us. So this, it almost feels like a trauma bond. So soulmates can be trauma bonds. And I feel like a trauma bond is a relationship that almost plays out a karmic theme that you grew up in. And in order to almost heal it, that both parties try to heal it. So one person may have been the overachiever, the overdoer, tried to be perfect, and then they lived out karmic themes of shame. And you tried to also be good and perfect and do everything right, but nothing was ever good enough. And I feel like your person tried to be in this relationship, didn't really want that type of relationship, and then tried to please themselves too. And they're still living shame because they don't look very honorable what they did. And I feel as if you, again, are still not getting the emotional support that you need. You didn't get it growing up, and you're still not getting it. And you're defensive about this. And this is when our spirit knows something. Intuitively, we know, but we're ignoring it. And of course, you would be angry, self-righteous. And then your person has a nerve to act like self-righteous, like point the finger because you're mean, you're controlling, you're barking, you're ordering, but your person cheated and they cheated. they showed that, or they were not available, even if there wasn't another person, which I feel like there was third parties, they didn't show up. So emotionally, they checked out, and they judge everyone. Dramatic, over the top behavior, creating drama for control. And that I feel like you and them are both like, there's so much trauma playing out in this situation because you're you want your person to change. You want your person to honor you, be respectful of you, to give you what you need emotionally, to show up as a partner. This person never did that, but let me tell you something, barking at them is not going to do it. This behavior is not going to get you there. This is like a toxic behavior. And because what happens is you get emotional because, again, they aren't listening, and you keep giving them second and third and fourth and fifth chances. And the whole time it's demoralizing your character. And then what happens is that you're emotional, so you seem as if you're dramatic, and then they almost feed on that toxic behavior. And that's when they act self-righteous, like, look how crazy you're looking. And then they act dramatic and they twist it around because they don't want to look at their behavior. They don't want to change. So you're actually in a Mexican standstill where both parties are not moving. Both peoples are not changing. So what's happening is you took the stance of, I'm going to try and make you change. And that's not a good energy because it becomes extremely toxic. Because there's still love here, there's still caring here. You know, that's what a trauma bond is. There still is caring, there still is a connection. However, there's so much pain, and there's so much that hasn't been worked through. Boundaries, like, again, Sagittarius, your boundaries are always seriously crossed and disrespected. You said, this is what I need from you, and they just never do it. And that's really what it comes down to. And that has to do with your individuality, because you might say, well, I'm in a relationship with someone and they don't change. And you're telling me I can't yell at them and be dramatic in order to change. So what's the solution? And the solution is to have boundaries, but not just say that you have boundaries. When someone crosses your boundaries, you need to have a life, like a life to go into, because understand your second chakra is like all about your individuality, your identity. Well, it's also like being able to go with the flow. We're able to go with the flow of life when we have boundaries. You know, when we are in our unique individuality, doing things that we love, finding ourselves, feeding ourselves passion, that's the boundary that spirit is saying. Is like, because you can't fight passion that you have with anger. You have to fight passion with another passion, because that's how you'll detach from them. The trauma bond is all about an energetic connection. And the energetic connection is, again, not a healthy one. And so there's boundaries. It's like, I do say, but I can't. And even if I do, my mind is still, you have to detach through your other passions of life. And if you don't have any, then that's the problem. You will have no tool to work with. Trauma. I have unresolved trauma and I took it out on you. Well, I feel like, again, both parties have unresolved trauma from childhood, and they're taking it out on each other. My face is so scratchy. I don't know why. Sorry about that. But trauma is, until it's resolved, what happens is it keeps playing out within our relationships as, trust issues, as emotionally not being there, as not showing up for a person, as cheating, as like all those things that many times we experienced when we grew up. And again, then we took on roles, and those roles are still playing out now, even though both parties, Sagittarius, you are no longer living with your parents, or if you are, they're not influencing you in a way where they can tell you who to date, where to go. You may live with them, but then have free reign. So again, they shouldn't be influencing you, is what I'm getting at. When we grow up, we should have a sense of identity. We should have a sense of who we are by then. And that's not just the job that we have, but it's how we're interactive in life. It's where we're spending our time. It's where we're invested in life. Because this is saying is trauma is in those spaces. In those spaces that should be identity, should be your passion, should be your joy, should be, again, part of your identity, that you can set a boundary. Is the trauma is your identity, and you're living that. And you're living that because it's a frame of mind. And it's a frame of mind because, again, you're not doing anything different. You're trying to control the situation. But then we're living in fear, and you will never get what you want. So you're bonded to the person out of guilt, out of shame, out of anger, but not really for unconditional love. Or there is unconditional love, but is buried under all this other energy that really needs to be integrated for your wholeness. Because a trauma bond is someone that comes into your life to teach you, but to teach you to expand consciousness so that you can be a better version of yourself. So then you can meet someone that is connected to you on a vibrational level that is in alignment with who you want to be within the world, not your traumas. It's, again, the lack of identity. So we might say, again, what for? But I just told you what for. What for? It's because all for evolution, all for to become a better version of yourself. No, it might sound scary because you might be like, no, I really love this person. And you do, for your level of consciousness. But if you were, again, really invested in your life and becoming yourself, the parts of yourself that are connected to that person eventually fall away. It's like because other parts of your truth come to you. Again, you're a magnet of who and what is supposed to be in your life. And sometimes those things are people that are supposed to heal trauma. And other times they're people that are supposed to help you shape your identity and boundaries. I always say identity because it's your identity. When we don't have an identity, we want to please people. We feel obligated, which is a trauma response. Instead of putting the energy onto ourselves and loving ourselves. And it looks like there's a part of your person, Sagittarius, that wants to experience like the self without any person, because they're like, I don't really know what I want. And you're like really holding on. Now, again, energy could be fluid. So this could be your person, not you, Sagittarius. So again, it's up to you to interpret the message. I know in my heart we'll be together one day, and that helps me trust. Let's keep working on us. So it's, again, there's still a part of you that I believe that feels that way. It's again, like it's always going to get better. I know in my heart We'll be together one day. It'll work out one day. And that's the thing with the trauma bond. We always say, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But it never happens. And then your life is just, when you look back, is on memories of that were always jaded because the person that you're with never really showed up. And again, there was a sense that you had to take that. And so that's really the issue within this situation. But let's just look at a hidden truth, because I'm sure your person, what does your person really feel down deep inside? Because I'm sure that they do care. Like I said, it's not that I don't feel like there's love, but who would say in a trauma bond, right? It's like there's so much pain. I just feel like your person is like, at this point, you're smothering them to the point that they're not loving. Because they're like, they're not appreciating. I can't stop thinking about you. I love you. Sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. Okay, so this is like really obsessive behavior now, which a lot of times we both know I am not the one for you. So what I see here is, again, a trauma bond relationship, a trauma bond relationship of one day. But then there's this whole addictive side, which is, I can't stop thinking about you. I love you. Sometimes I lay awake thinking of you. But we both know that that the energy's off. So I'm going to leave it right there. Sagittarius. I'm sorry. Like, this was such a heavy reading, but in the Akashic records, that is what you're going to find. You're going to find soul programs. You're going to find all your spiritual lessons, right? Because we live many, many lifetimes. And so these relationships of trauma bond are all to help you step into your true and most authentic self. So you become the best version of yourself. And then when you do, you become a magnet for who and what is supposed to come into your life. And it's never forced. It's never manipulated. It's just is. And it feels so comfortable and home, and it just is. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think, Sagittarius. Bye-bye.